Hello friends, it's Dr. Mustafa is here with a brand new lecture about the coronavirus, or you can say about the COVID-19 or about the pandemic, which we and the rest of the world is facing right now. So this lecture is designed for the students who don't have enough background knowledge about biology. So I will try to keep the things very simple and easy for you, so you can get most out of most of the information which you should know as a university student and as a citizen, to help yourself, not only help yourself but to help your friends and family and your community. So here we go. I'm going to share my screen with you people, and we'll talk about the coronavirus and generally about the viruses and what is coronavirus and how it actually affect our health, and why it is so dangerous, and how what are the treatment options we are having, and how we can help ourselves, how we can prevent this disease, and how we can avoid and can live happily in the presence or in the world of corona. Okay, so I will going to share my screen with you in order to explain the things in a better way. So here we go. This is the some of the slides I have prepared for you people, and these are about the coronavirus and the COVID-19 pandemic. Remember, the name of the virus is coronavirus. It's actually a family of viruses. And one of the virus which appeared in December 2019 in the seafood market of Wuhan, which showed entirely different structure and genetical structure. So Chinese scientists started using the term novel coronavirus, and it will become part of the name, novel coronavirus 19. It was similar to the SARS. You might heard and might remember the name. That was a very severe disease, the SARS. It was similar in structure to the SARS, but it has some novel and some newer stuff inside it. So that is why it was named after like a novel coronavirus. And the disease which that virus is causing is called as COVID-19. So the COVID-19 is the name of the disease, and that is the reason of the pandemic as well. Okay, so we will try to learn about these things and to educate ourselves. And you know what we will do after that. So the responsibility of knowledge is to share the knowledge, okay, with your friends and family, and to help them yourself and themselves. Okay, let's go. First thing you need to know, that's about the viruses. Remember, viruses are so small. I mean, they are very small. Like you can't see bacteria. They are microorganisms. You know, it can only be seen through microscope. The small bacteria, it can only be seen through microscope. The size of the bacteria and the other single cell organisms, they are like about 1 micrometer. Imagine about the viruses. I mean, they are even smaller. The yellow region, they're even smaller, much smaller than the bacteria. They can actually infect bacteria as well. Like poliovirus is here, flu virus is here. And remember, coronavirus family belongs to the flu viruses. So traditionally, a virus is made up of, I must say, 2 layers, sometimes 3 layers. So generally speaking, it's made up of 2 layers. The outer layer is made up of proteins. We know the proteins like the molecules of life, the protein, the lipids, and the genetic material, which we call nucleic acid. These are the fundamental molecules of life. So the outer coat or the outer structure of the virus is usually made up of proteins. Yeah, enveloped proteins, sometimes they're called. And then there exists an inner layer as well of protein, which is called capsid proteins, which encloses the genetical material of the virus. As most of us know, and if you don't know, the genetic material may be of 2 types. It may be DNA or it may be an RNA. So the virus can also carry either the DNA or the RNA. So that is why sometimes the viruses are called as DNA viruses, or sometimes they are called as RNA viruses. Remember, hepatitis B is a DNA virus, while hepatitis C is an RNA virus. It contains RNA. Coronavirus is also an RNA virus. It contains RNA as well. So they are a little bit more difficult to deal as compared to the DNA virus. Remember, they're a little bit more difficult to deal as compared to the viruses which carry the DNA. Okay. So, and you also you should know that the viruses are supposed, some people consider them as dead, some people consider them as living things. But remember, when the virus is not present within a host, it's dead. It's like a dead, if the virus is present on the laptop, so on the table, that means the virus is dead. It needs a host to exist as a living system. So once the virus managed to enter into a host cell, it may be the cell of the humans, it may be the cells of the plants, it might be the cells of animals. Then the virus started using the components of the living things, the cells of the living things, to reproduce itself, to start replicating itself into the host cells. So one virus can infect another cell of the host and then start replicating right within the host to produce more viruses. It is like a hijack situation. It actually hijacked the cell and start pushing the cells to produce more viruses. So using the resources of the host cell, using the material of the host cell, the viruses started producing more and more cells. I will explain these things in the upcoming slide. So once the virus manages to find its entry into the cell, it actually hijacks the cellular nucleus, which is controlling the functions of the cell, and start pushing the cellular machinery to produce the proteins and the things which are required to build new viruses. And once we have new viruses, it started producing, it actually bursts the cells most of the time. And so one virus eventually ended into so many more viruses out of the cell. So the cell actually lost its control and start producing more viruses. Which virus will produce which type of disease? It depends on the target selection of a particular virus. Hepatitis C or hepatitis B viruses choose the liver cells to infect. So they choose the liver cells to live and to replicate themselves. That's why it can cause trouble. It can cause a disease of liver. It can destroy the liver. While the coronavirus, it used to enter or infect the cells of the lungs. The lungs contains air tracts as well as it contains other structures. So it actually affects the cells which are making the air tracts within the lungs. So if, and you can guess that the air tract of the lungs is too much exposed to the air, while the liver is like right inside our body, deep inside our body, but the lungs and the air tract is completely exposed. So it is much easier for the coronavirus to find its target place, means the cells in the lungs. So once it's entered into the cells of the lungs, it starts consuming the cells and producing more viruses. And that can result in the lung damage, which is called pneumonia, and then eventually the death. The person started feeling difficulty in breathing and all the things which you heard in the news and all other places in the social media. So a lot of experts are out there. So I'm not an expert, but I'm just trying to share the things in a little bit easier way with you. Okay. So this is the coronavirus itself is actually, the name is corona because of the presence of the crown on itself. So the outer proteins look like a crown. So that is why it's named as coronavirus. And it actually affects the cells in the lungs. So it can cause the respiratory diseases. Specifically, the coronavirus is made up of an outer boundary of proteins, especially the glycoproteins. If you can recall, the glycoprotein means proteins plus carbohydrates. So they are like a protein connected with carbohydrates. And there are certain other proteins are also present here. And then in the center, there exists an RNA, the ribonucleic acid. So it's an RNA virus. In December 2019, China declares that it discovered a very novel strain of coronavirus called 2019 novel coronavirus at that time. But now today, at the 30th of March 2020, this virus has a confirmed cases of more than, it's about 739,000 cases coronaviruses in the different parts of the world. No place is left other than I must say, the places where nobody lives, like in Arctic and another region. So most of the places are, especially you can see that it's the places where the population density is very high, like in India, China, Pakistan, and then USA. I mean, it's too much. Italy, you heard that it is actually causing huge damage in these countries. And in Pakistan, it's like it's yet not reached to the exponential phase yet. So we are a little bit behind than Italy and USA. So I wish that it should never happen, but we are a little bit behind what Italy and USA is facing today, and the Spain as well, and the other countries. So more than 35,000 deaths. So there must be very, very special with this virus. We should know about this virus, whether we have some knowledge of biology or not, whether we are like male or female, whether we are like um, whatever we are, we need to know more about this virus, particularly to help ourselves, to protect ourselves. Okay, so in the next part of the video, I will going to explain more about specifically about the important informations related to this virus. Okay, here we go again. So in just 3 months, from the one patient to 739,000 deaths. So, 739,000 infections and more than 35,000 deaths, and it's still counting. So there must be a serious reason to think and to know more about the virus, to protect yourself and your friends and your family. So first, the things which you need to know about the symptoms of the patients who are infected with this virus. So they have ranges of symptoms. I'm telling you, there's no one single symptom which you can relate with this COVID-19. Some people are not showing symptom at all, and they were found to be dead in a couple of days after they started showing the symptoms. So typically, if the person is infected today, it started showing symptom from 2 to 14 days. It may be on the next day, it may be after the 5 days, it may be after the 10 days, or it may be maybe after the 13 or 14 days. This period is called as the incubation period of the virus. So, and this is very important to know. If the person is not showing any symptom, it is harboring the virus, so it can infect other people without knowing that he is a carrier. So those the silent carrier, they are the trouble. Actually, they are the real problem, which are causing and contributing in the spread of this disease. So the people who are showing certain symptoms, they are showing the fever and cough, especially the dry cough. These two are like a must-have, and they are finding it difficult to breathe. And you can guess why, because their air tracts are the cells are not working well, so it is difficult for them to breathe, and they have shortening of breath. Okay. Another thing you need to know about this particular virus is the rate of replication. This is the term which is called as R0. And this is it's like a mathematical number given to a virus, that how fast it can infect, how many other people it can infect. One virus can infect how many people, or a one infected person can infect how many other people. So if, for example, if the replication rate or R naught of a particular virus is 2, that means one person potentially infect 2 other people. And in case of coronavirus, based on this study, you are not supposed to worry about that study, but I have read that article for you. It's about 2.24 to 3.58. It's quite high. And I believe and they have estimated the values, that we don't have the exact data yet. So I believe that the R naught value for the coronavirus is much more than 2. So that is why it is increasing in number after like 10 to 15 replications. You can guess that how many people it can infect. This is the same which will happen. The same reason behind the sudden expansion of number of patients in Italy and then Spain and now in USA. I mean, in days in USA, the number of infected people gone like more than 100,000. It is actually more. The number is more than the infected people in China. In China, about 80,000, and here is like more than 120,000. So that is because of the rapid replication rate of that virus. And how you can prevent yourself? A lot of things you know and you heard about in social media and in the news. Most of them are true, that you need to learn more. There are other things you need to do. You need to increase the level of your hygiene. You need to wash your hands again and again. That's quite simple thing. But washing your hand with a sanitizer or with a soap, particularly with the soap, is actually destroy the protein structure of the virus. So if the proteins stay in touch with the soap, the protein structure got damaged. So washing your hands with the soap means you are actually destroying the protein coat of the virus. And the bigger trouble with this virus is that it does not require an intermediate uh, animal or any other species, like the SARS, like the MERS. MERS needs a camel. SARS needs like a bird or a chicken. Bird flu need a chicken. So it requires, SARS needs the pig. So it requires no intermediate species. It can be transferred from one person to another person. It can survive in the air, in the droplets, after sneezing and after coughing. So you need to stay away from the person who is sneezing and coughing, since the cough and the droplets can survive in the air. It can survive on the surface of the metal. So that's very dangerous. Actually, this is the primary reason that this virus is spreading at a very dangerous rate. The person who is infected, he is actually leaving the virus particles behind, like on the table, on the door handles, on the stairs, and on the elevator buttons, and all these places, which is commonly and repeatedly used in the same way. So leaving the virus particles over, and the virus particle do survive for a certain period of time. And it was reported sometimes it survives more than hours, and sometimes it can survive for a day. So that is why, in order to avoid that particular disease, avoiding the infected people is not enough. We need to avoid the place as well, because who knows that the same table and the bench and the chair and the counter in a shopping mall which you are using was used by some infected person 1 hour ago, 2 hours ago. So that's why the social distance came. The term is very famous nowadays, to quarantine yourself, to avoid any contact with the other people. So you will not going to experience the same place. You're not going to you don't need to reuse the same things and the same places by the infected people. So that's why social distance is very important, and especially the replication rate. You need to understand that how social distance is actually help us to reduce the number of patients. And that is also critically very important, because our hospitals do not have capacity to to deal with that many number of patients. So if we increase the number of patients like twice or thrice, or and we don't have actually many options available in our hands. So social distancing will help us not to produce enough infected people. So we can use our resources, the government resources can be used efficiently only for the people who actually required to be taken care of. So that's very important. So that is how we can help not only to prevent the spreading, but also to save lives of the other people. It was also known, you need to know certain other things as well, that the virus is a little bit biased because it is affecting more male as compared to the female. And that is because most of the female, they have stronger immune system as compared to the male. And the virus is affecting more to the elderly people and also the people who have disease history, including the respiratory diseases. And no cases were reported of for younger kids in the rest of the world. But in Pakistan, recent news has let us know that even the younger people are in trouble because of this virus. So that's a sign of worry as well. Okay, since we don't have any solution, means we don't have any pill, we don't have any injection, we don't have any drug which can go and kill the virus structure. Remember, the drugs are the chemicals which can effectively destroy the protein structure or the viral structures. If we don't have any drug, we cannot kill the virus directly. But nature has given us a wonderful system to protect against the pathogens, to protect against the invaders like viruses and bacteria. That system is called as immune system. Our immune system experiences hundreds of different types of viruses and bacteria every day. And most of the time, actually quite a lot of time, most of the time, our immune system not only understand the trouble, but also create perfect responses and perfect weapons to kill that viruses or bacteria. Our immune system most of the time win that war more easily. Until unless something very weird, something very new, which was not there. So like in case of coronavirus, more than 90% people who got infected because of this disease, they find their way. We don't have any drug. We are not giving them any pill, any injections to fix. We're just helping the fever. We're just helping them to breathe properly with the help of ventilators and other options. We're not giving them any molecule which can kill the virus. The people are getting better and better, and they are getting recovered because of the ability of their immune system to create antibodies against those viruses. So that's like the primary thing we are having, our immune system. So under present conditions, until unless the scientific community came up with some solution, came up with some answer of that virus, we are dependent on our immune system to stay alive against this virus. So that is why we need to do everything which we can do to support our immune system. So a healthy diet can help our immune system to work better. Avoiding stress, which is very difficult because we are living in an abnormal situation, in a quarantine situation. Exercise help our immune system to refresh ourselves as well. And especially a good sleep. Remember, a good sleep means an uninterrupted sleep of 7 to 8 hours. The sleep in which you can dream. That is like a good sleep. You need to keep your circadian rhythm intact. You need to give your body like 6 to 8 hours of sleep, uninterrupted sleep. And I have placed a video which is a little bit difficult about the biology paper, but I tried to make it simple and in Urdu as well. You can see that video as well, which actually explains you that when you sleep well, you are helping your immune system to stay alert and to be proactive and to fight with the virus more easily. So remember, to avoid the infection, first you need to avoid the virus. Number two, if the virus is there, you should try, or we should try not to have a load of virus, not to have a heavy load of that virus. Social distancing help us not to experience the virus at all. So our immune system no longer required to deal with coronavirus. So no chance of failure, no battle. But if you try to exercise a higher levels of hygiene, even if you're infected, you will receive a small dose of that virus and your immune system will easily handle that virus. And last, until unless we get the solution, you need to social distance and good sleep and good immune system that will help you to stay alive in that troubled time which we are all facing. Until unless we get the final solution, and that is the vaccination. So when you heard things in the newspaper and other places, it will take a lot of time. So when first we need to study about the virus, and then we develop the vaccine. It takes a lot of time. So the vaccines are developed to help our immune system to create perfect weapons against a particular virus. So we are not going to have a vaccine like in few days, but the most important thing which we are doing right now is to develop easier ways of detection, easier ways of diagnosis, so we can separate the infected people from the healthier one, so we can spread the cycle, we can isolate the virus to kill the virus. So I wish that this video helps you something. It should help you to understand about the virus. This is not everything. I wish that you people should browse by yourself. You should try to learn about yourself and to increase your knowledge, because knowledge will reduce your fear. It will help you to survive in a better way. It will increase the chances of your survival as well. So I really wish a very safe existence of all of you with your friends and family, and please do survive. Okay, thank you very much. It's bye bye from my side.